welcome back to Rain Gaming Can playing Disco Elysium. It's going to be our last episode.
The heavy metal door stands.
Because we're right near the end of the game, Mike.
Yes?
There's someone there. I don't want to talk to him. I don't think there's anything else you can do. He's got a rifle.
An old man wearing tracksuit trousers leans on the frame stock of his rifle. He gathers a big ball of spit in his mouth, then spits it out into the extinguished fire before him. He raises his black eyes, hooded by creased eyelids, to meet yours, unclouded by cataracts. His eyesight is sharp. He's practically tearing up from spite. Hatred got the best of him a long time ago. This man hates everything.
You the fire guy?
The what now? I can't hear you.
Did you recently tell two kids to put out their fire? Two twins?
I may have. All sorts of little rats have come sniffing around, trying to give up the position.
The position sounds like a hiding place.
Fire guy. Regressive bourgeoisie henchman. Can't even talk like a grown-up.
You've retained your eyesight.
My eyesight? Yes. Helps me see all the shit.
Did you close the blast door?
I did. And you opened it. How?
I used the thing, the machine.
I should have burned that console down.
How did you know I was coming?
Reactionary rock and roll music. Playing on the water.
Told you we shouldn't play sad FM.
But you didn't say that, Kim.
I did.
We have entered a world where he said you shouldn't. It is the only world.
It was not rock and roll, it was sad FM.
Sad FM, huh? I always hated that station. Phlegmatic, counter-revolutionary dirges. Sadness is a mental illness. A weapon of the bourgeoisie. The fascists were right about rock and roll. It is degenerate. Hip gyrating, mental illness music.
Got a pretty nice gun there.
It's not nice. It's a piece of shit. But it gets the job done.
A Bell McGraw.
It's a 3-angong,
Oh, McGrave.
446.
Southeast Samaran made. Exotic. Must be defunct too. No modern rifle manufacturer of that name springs to mind.
A Samaran rifle. How did you get hold of one?
It was sent to us by our brothers in the Signal commune. Military aid.
It has stayed true to him. He can still make it sing.
What the hell is that commune?
You heard me. It's good now. Like chalk, white from the board.
Your weapon has stayed true to you. Mine has stayed true to me. So I need to put down your gun so we can talk. I'm with the police.
Yes. I bet you've killed a lot of people with it. You fascist fuck. Have you come to make me one of them?
His right eye twitches. With what? Fear? Rage?
Both?
We have come to ask you questions. Nothing more. If you do not comply, we will take you in. Do you understand?
Put down your gun and we can talk.
The lieutenant pulls his pistol from
Alright,
the
Kim,
holster.
fucking calm down.
You are a glorified night watchman. This is a service rifle. I can only lay it down before an enemy commander of corresponding rank.
Yeah, I'm a double fucking Can I change my clothes? Kim?
The lieutenant aims his pistol square at the man's forehead.
Can I change my clothes?
Put it down now, sir.
Or you're gonna blow my brains out before you question me. To hell with it. It's a walking stick anyway. It's out of bullets.
Wow.
Like an amputated limb in the sand, he stares on, his wrinkled mouth moving without a sound. A strange sadness, like a song.
What did you say?
The future teaches you to be alone.
The past did.
The present.
Present?
The present to be afraid and cold.
Those words, the future teaches you.
Real music. Real Prolet cult. That's La Revacholière, not your rock and roll misanthropy. Chanson de soldat of the black and whites.
It's not misanthrope. I'm a half-dead police officer who's just doing his job. What is La Revolution?
It is the anthem of the world revolution. One of 3. In Grad, they sang Brave Children, favorites of history. And in Signal, it was some Samaran shit, I guess.
How does it go?
How did it go? Something about shooting rabbits. I don't know. I can't remember. It doesn't matter. It's gone now.
He waves erratically with his hand, annoyed that he can't remember. A little tremor passes through him. It was dear to him. He resents forgetting it.
Gonna pick up that gun?
His gaze follows your motions. The rifle feels surprisingly light in your hand. Frame stocked and patched in places with tape and wire. Still warm from his parched hands. Not the metal. The metal is ice cold. This weapon has been modified several times.
Let's have a closer look.
The rifle's in a shabby state, like a crutch that's seen too much travel. Hieroglyphs are embossed into the forearm, made of walnut. On the butt, you see Vespertine writing, burnt into the wood. Triangon, 4.46mm, made in Signal.
As he said.
No one said it has to be a Belmagrave. We were just guessing.
From ballistics, it could easily have been a Triangon, too.
It doesn't matter if it was made in Shanty. All it has to do is use jacketed ammunition.
It
And
did.
it does.
All 46.
The right type and the right calibre.
He's liking this.
And the rifle has been patched and modified several times.
I wonder how old it is.
The old man does not answer. He just stares in front of him.
I'm gonna go and put this in my pocket.
The old man keeps following your motion with his gaze. His right arm twitches suddenly. Some kind of involuntary response. Something is slightly off with his motorics. This looked very much like the murder weapon. It could be used against him to get a confession.
Who are you?
My name is Josef Lilianovic Dross, Political Commissar of the 114th Anti-Aircraft Division of the 4th Army of the Commune of Revachol. I am a deserter, a partisan, and a prisoner of war. This is my terminal surrender.
The Commune of Revachol? Do you mean the ICM? Your holdover from the...
From the Insulindian Citizens Militia, the army of the revolution. I was recruited in Jamrock in 07, trained in the École de Contrôle Orient, and consigned to emergency defense duties in 08. I left my unit on the eve of the landing. When I returned here on May 14th, the Commune had fallen. Still armed and ideologically trained, I wrote a criticism of myself and resumed partisan duties.
51 minus 8 equals 43.
So you've been here 43 years?
No. I've been on other islands, too. I was in Resurrection until they turned it into a spa in 18. Then I was an E-48, a nameless sound, until the sea washed over it. Then I came back here. That was 22 years ago.
So you've been hiding for 43 years?
43 years and 10 months.
That is pretty steadfast.
It's not how a human being should live. But I had to. I couldn't just forget. I couldn't just forget what I saw.
He just couldn't.
Couldn't give up?
He nods, but he can now.
What have you been doing during all this time?
Hiding, fishing, waiting.
Where the afternoon grows late, on Rue de Saint-Ghislain, people walk home. Street lights will soon be lit. Further inland, the streets are alive with workers, men, women, children, street hawks and migrant laborers. The temperature is steady. Alto cumulus clouds form above Precinct 41.
Always waiting.
For what?
For her to return.
Her who?
Girl, child, revolution.
The fuck is that?
Always.
I'm afraid she's gone.
The material base for an uprising has eroded. The working class has betrayed mankind and themselves. The historic opportunity for a revolution has passed. It will not come back anymore, however hard I try.
You said you
Whatever
deserted
I
your
do.
unit.
I was just 16 years old, 15 when I volunteered. I had a lapse of faith. And of courage, too.
Lapse of faith, eh?
You could say I misunderstood the historic role of the proletariat and thought Mazovian socioeconomics were fallible. For a second, I doubted the irreducible laws of historic materialism. A second is all it took
For what?
for reaction to take hold.
Reaction?
Petty bourgeois terror. It's in all men.
It wasn't reaction, you were afraid.
It's the same thing. You haven't seen it. Not really. Not naked. It's impossible not to be afraid.
And this was when?
May the 13th, 08, 44 years ago. The horizon was black with coalition airships. Their petroleum rose to the sky, and it looked like it formed the clouds. Storm clouds. When they started shelling, it was dark magic.
Dark magic.
The combined might of international capital. All at once, all the greed and terror in the world tore into Revachol. It lifted streets from the ground and turned houses into ghosts. We were in the flak tower, huddled on the floor. The artillery was 80 kilometers away in Ozon, but I knew the commune would fall. We would all be turned into ash. So I said I was going to the map room.
And then?
I ran. I climbed the chain link across the water and hid inland, in the bunkers underground, like the weakest of the weak. A mouse, frightened of the ordnance all night, and the sound of the rotors in the morning, whirring.
What was that?
Airships. I climbed out into hell. The landing was complete. The chain was submerged. I had to swim back. The fortress was half submerged too, shattered. They'd all drowned in the lower levels or got torn to shreds above. The anti-aircraft gun had malfunctioned. So had I. I left them without ideological direction. It was real. I'd seen it. I'd seen it in reality.
Seen what?
The mask of humanity fall from capital. It has to take it off to kill everyone, everything you love. All the hope and tenderness in the world. It has to take it off just for 1 second to do the deed. And then you see it as it strangles and beats your friends to death. The sweetest, most courageous people in the world. You see the fear and power in its eyes. Then you know.
What?
That the bourgeois are not human.
Okay, you've
Now
lost
it's
your
not
mind.
the time, Lieutenant Jeffreto.
I had to. I had to fight it. I could not stop anymore.
What is this place?
It's not an island, Dwight. It's a defensive fortification of the commune of Revachol. And I am its last surviving defender.
And what's it for?
The congenitally deformed King Philip II built it to restrict access to the Bay of Revachol. We captured it in '02, retrofitted the fort with an AA gun to defend against an airborne landing. Against the whole world.
Retaking a rubbish.
Coalition military called it Operation Deathblow. I later found out on the radio they called it Deathblow. You're one of them. Tell me, who speaks like that? We had 50 million people on Caillou alone.
I'm not one of them.
Sure you are. You're our CM. Answer me. Who calls an operation against 50 million people Deathblow?
Coalition military. Someone who comes to end this madness. Murderers. I know what you mean.
You don't know. You haven't seen it. Iblis,
How's Iblis?
the black-eyed angel.
How have you survived?
How does anyone survive? I steal.
Now hold on there.
That's a choice. You could have been self-employed, create the system. What did you steal?
Supplies, vegetables. I collect rainwater. It's the life of a dog, not a human being.
How is your health, Mr. Dross?
I've been throwing up blood since winter. Red, like beetroot. Been passing it in stool, too.
He does seem frail. Gaunt for his age. More like 75 than 65. Trouble putting on weight could mean cancer.
The RCM can provide medical services. You need to be looked over.
I need to die. You don't have medical facilities. You have guns. That's all they give you. Toy guns.
This is a serious situation. You need to be looked over. How have you coped mentally?
There's nothing to look over. The triage is in, and it's black. Administer morphine. Moribund. I have holes in my brain. Years missing. Others filled with pain only. A decade of I don't even know what. Inferno?
I live in hell. I also have holes in my brain.
At least you know it. The traders of this city turned the lights back on in the 30s, after the fighting stopped. Ruins, glittering in the dark like a fucking merry-go-round. It's disgusting.
Are they not heartbroken? How could they have moved on?
How have you concealed yourself?
It was hard in the Thames. I didn't have partisan training. They were searching for stragglers, those bloodhounds. Floodlights on the water at night.
There were posters, campaigns.
We communards still hoped, and they needed to snuff that hope out. The East capitulated. Martinez and Cold City were turned to dust. But Jamrock, Forburg, even Coron, and Boogie Street, of course. Those fucking kips had Marsov coursing through their veins. And others too. Some cordons of Revachol was still fighting. There were cells. I tried to contact them. Soon they all went silent. The frequencies dead.
How did you get between here and the mainland?
At night, I used a dinghy. I
Oh, we
only
saw
went
it,
after
the rebel
dark
one.
then. When I got to the city, I stayed underground. Patrols, you lot, the commons too. They'd started snitching.
In the city, you move underground?
From bunker to bunker. Not anymore. No one cares now. I don't even have to hide. They think I'm another antisocial vagrant. I could walk straight into that town if I wanted.
Why don't you?
I don't want to. They're all traitors. Pigs, rabbits, and dogs. Men without ideals are only animals.
He does not want to see life moving on. People forgetting, drinking, laughing.
The weapons cache under St. Giselle 22B in the basement. Have you been there?
So you finally found it. There must have been a small squadron's worth of arms in there. Elmer Graves, right?
They were.
Useless now. Rusted away.
So you've been there?
Sleeping. Some nights. Ammo scrounging on others. Those McGraves were shit, even before they corroded. Some had bullets in the chamber, however.
You feel the dots connecting. Little dots on the map he's walked across.
There's a small bunker in the Fell building. Have you been there?
The propaganda bunker. I used to, but not anymore.
Propaganda bunker?
They stored leaflets there. Broadcasting equipment, too. Made broadcasts, I think. Propaganda officers. I buried them with their leaflets. They killed themselves. 2 young boys.
Killed themselves.
A lot of our boys did. I spent some winters there. Never liked it. Kept thinking of them. No need to go underground anymore. It's better in the ruins, on the ground.
Tell me something else.
The old man looks across the water, at the city, the ruins, the motorways rising above it.
You said this is your terminus surrender.
You're with the RCM, the coalition-appointed mob that enforces bourgeois morals in Revachol.
We enforce the law. We keep those animals from killing each other.
You're the RCM. You represent the Moralist International, the enemies of humanity who took this city. I represent their adversary, le Parti Communiste dans ce land. Take me to them as a prisoner of war. I have relinquished my weapon. I can no longer serve. No superiors can relieve me of my duty. You bulldoze them all to a mass grave for trying to free humanity.
A spray of blood from his mouth on the black charcoal in the fire pit.
You're a communist soldier from the communist army.
No, I am not a soldier. I am an ideological officer. I belong to the party, not the army.
You said you trained and assigned to Defense Corps.
Trained in historical materialism, then assigned as a political commissar by the party. These things used to mean something.
What does a political commissar do?
The old man does not answer. He tilts his silver head and looks at the reeds. You see a small tremor pass through his legs.
His job was to assure the army answers to civilian control and follows the ideology of the Commune.
Scientific communism. A commissaire politique is a night philosopher of the revolution, a future human.
Awakened from shutdown by the promise of ideology, he was like a cleric, a shepherd.
A priest?
No, the opposite of that. A future human, not a human of the past.
So a trained communist?
He nods slowly, then another tremor.
I'm gonna say I'm a communist.
No, you're not. You're a liberast.
What the
A
fucking...
liberal and a pederast. It's what most liberals are.
I don't know what that means. Yeah, that's me.
Detective, we have not come here to discuss ideology. We have come to ask questions regarding a murder investigation.
Stop
The old
hurrying me
man
along.
spits. There's definitely something off with his body. Something more than just metabolism, or even cancer.
I have another serious question for you.
There's nothing serious in this world. It's a farce.
What have you been using this gun for?
I've used it for killing people.
Killing people?
Who?
It's a gun. That's what they're for. You want a moralist euphemism? Defending your family and your property. I haven't done that. I've used it to kill people.
Interesting. During or after the war?
There is no after the war. Class war is never over.
So he's continued killing after hostilities ended. Okay. This is it. You can feel it, like battery acid on the tip of your tongue. Something you haven't felt in a while.
For what?
This is what you live for. This is the shit. The great serotonin jackpot. The solution. Going straight. No euphemisms. He doesn't like those. No. Be careful now. Slow and steady does it. Make him repeat it first. Don't mess this up. Remember, he wants to tell you. Get personal.
So you're saying you kill people after active fighting stops?
What did I just say?
What did I just tell you? Don't drop the ball now.
I know you want to tell me. Have you killed anyone with that gun the last week or two?
I don't want to tell you anything, you grotesque murderer.
And why did you think that was a good idea? Don't listen to me. I'm wrong all the time.
Did you kill the colonel, the security contractor of Canal?
The who now?
He heard you. He just wants to hear you say it again. This is dramatic flair on his part. Right choice. We're in. Do it, sire.
The fascist death squad who took a bullet in the mouth and the... Yeah.
Oh yes, that one. Ugly piece of work, that boy.
Did you kill him?
I am a son of a welder and an officer of the commune of Revachol. I do not collaborate with murderers and pederasts of the liberal regime.
A drop of blood in the saliva. Exhaust him with proof. Pile it all on him. Get a confession. The gun. The murder weapon is the perfect opener. The scent of blood in the air. But what else? There was something you can't remember.
What?
Something about the tracks. Suddenly, all those tracks are so confusing. Go with something else first.
I don't need your cooperation. I've got the murder weapon.
Not a lot of guns around that use military-grade ammunition, are there?
It's a real gun, not like your little musketeer pistols. I've seen you prance around with those, jumping hoops for the liberals. You look like imbeciles. Why don't you ask them to give you real weapons? Going against automatic rifles with these toy guns. Of course you got those boys killed.
Damn, he saw you. He's watched it happen. He would have a good view of the tribunal from here. It's not just empty boasting. So he saw you. Okay. So what?
We saved a
Don't
lot
let
of
it
them.
divert you.
Elaine and that musician. Some change in switch back. We have the murder
You know
weapon.
what? You're right. I'm convinced this made the shot. Should we call it?
Automatically ask, you think we have the murder weapon?
4.46 jacketed ammunition, modified for range. We have it. This is it.
I'm calling it, we have the murder weapon.
Good. This feels good, doesn't it? Tearing things up like this. When you have the murder weapon, you have the killer.
Murder.
This pushed him, but not enough. Just a little more.
You're a communist. I talked to the dead man. He told me a communist killed him.
Stupid twat.
The lieutenant
Sounds
looks
like
at
he's
you
saying twat.
with worry in it. Not this, he seems to say. Anything but this.
Yeah, I had a seance with his soul. You fucked with the wrong police officer. I have paranatural abilities. It was intuition. Had he spoken, he would have said communism killed him.
Intuition is an aberrant psychologism. It reeks of crypto-fascism. The parasite class use intuition to justify their rank in life. It's all just palmistry and magic, Earl creatures. Your brain is rotting from the radio waves.
He does not answer the provocation. It does not look like he thinks this approach worked. Yeah, this just did nothing. But still, somehow you knew it was a communist.
How?
Perhaps you suspected it before you took the case. The vision was you remembering that.
But this did nothing.
Was it supposed to?
Well, we'll look deeper.
The inland sea is dark, vast, and on the surface, meaningless.
Is this the miracle?
No, the miracle is still awaiting. This is the darkness.
But aren't I way out in the west?
You are. Soon it will happen.
Right then.
Standing there, slack-jawed, brain festering.
What am I forgetting?
Here it comes. The goddamn Maybells. The dried Maybells on Clausia's roof.
Oh yeah.
There were Maybells in the grass when you got here. They're revolutionary symbols from the war. Nowhere else, nowhere in all of Martinez have you seen them this spring. Wait, don't forget the footprints. The diagonal prints in the dust in the secret space behind Clausia's bedroom. Now, they're gonna come up.
Of course, thank you, Head.
You got it. Remember, the boot prints were like no modern soul. Maybe don't beat yourself anymore, though. You're not immortal.
Yes, I am.
Nothing else comes up. You see the lieutenant watch you try to stimulate thought processes by hitting yourself. I'm sorry, this didn't do anything. Usually hurting yourself does.
Officer, a word?
No, I'm almost there. Just let me punch myself a little bit more.
Almost where? Almost ready to bleed to death.
No, come on. A word. Let's go. I think we may have this.
Do you think he did it?
From nothing to this in a day. This is good, Lieutenant Gefreiter. We just need a confession first, and then maybe a solid motive later.
I'm slapping myself to get ideas.
I can see that, yes. I'm not judging.
I'm trying to get him to confess.
Yes, good going. That should be our first priority.
And how do you think the question is going?
Good. We are doing very good. He wants to confess, I can see that. We just need to pile it on a little more. The more we have on him, the closer he is.
You hear that? He thinks you're this close.
Yes, what are we missing?
Ballistics. Let him cook here for a minute or two. We can have another look around the island for a sniper's nest. I think we should check out the post.
It doesn't have to hold in court. Just establish a line of sight and he'll do the rest himself.
Okay, let's do it.
Remember, he wants to tell us, but he doesn't want to help us. It needs to look like we already have everything.
There is palpable excitement in his tone. He likes him for this. A lot. But there's something more, too. He thinks the deserter has more than just this case in him. 44 years here.
He has more.
Oh, yes. And he hasn't spoken to anybody in a long time. If we get him open, who knows what will pour out.
Pat him on the back. We're going now, bye. We need to find the sniper's nest. I can't go through the grass. Ooh. How do I get there? So we came in, right? dramatic, Harry. This is the sniper's nest.
There's a rain-soaked mattress on a concrete slab, only half covered by the crumbling roof. At the head of it, double embrasures, firing slits like two eyes in the wall.
B triple prime. This looks like a good place to shoot from.
Let's look at the mattress.
A single-person mattress, modern, civilian use. Brand name, Marjorie. There's a fuel stain on the cover, along with cigarette burns. And an empty can of beans on the ground next to it, filled to the brim with cigarette butts.
Pick one out.
The silhouette of a tobacco picker adorns the paper filter. The brand, Dio Morteri. Contemporary Revacholians prefer Juan, a local blend from the Southern Islands, or Astra, the legendary cigarette from Grad. Dio Morteri is favored by older men for its paper filter tips, sweet smell, and added tar.
An old man cigarette.
Yes, it all adds up.
And the wall?
There's a firing slit in the wall in front of you, like a little window.
Let's touch the concrete.
Quite old and grimy from years without cleaning by anything other than the rain.
Let's have a look at through the hole. Can we see?
The springs
Lily was killed.
screech as you lean on the mattress and crane your neck to look out. Trepidation, a tingling feeling in your stomach. A small piece of Martinez coastline opens up in the square in front of you, like a tiny landscape painting. 1 kilometer across the water. The ruins look familiar.
And on the left?
A towering skyscraper, its top floors shaved off by artillery fire. Capeside apartments. Rue de Saint-Ghislain, 33A and 33B.
And on the right?
The red chimney and collapsed back of the 4-story tenement in front of the Whirling in Rags, Rue de Saint-Ghislain, 10,
Okay. And
the
in the
doomed
middle?
commercial area.
Yeah. In the middle?
The box-shaped silhouette of the Whirling in Rags. You see a small fleck of white on the rooftop, the upstairs window of Clausia's room, in the rain, reflecting light.
Motherfucker.
What does that mean? Do you have line of sight to the window?
More than that,
With a pair of binoculars, I could see inside the room.
A pair of binoculars? Or a scope of a rifle? You'd be prone, lying on a mattress, barrel resting on the embrasure.
cheek against a cheek rest, hand on the hair trigger, on a calm day like this.
I could make that shot.
I think we have it, Detective. The origin of the shot. This is the sniper's nest.
Affirmative.
Finally.
In our defense, nothing pointed here. Many leads pointed elsewhere.
You're right.
He looks north, over the fortification, then at the mattress. He's conflicted for a second. There's guilt there. It takes him a moment to rationalize it away.
Old medicine cabinet nearly stocked with bleh. Fuel canister. What
There's
am I
a
going to do with that?
B triple prime. This looks like
The spring, a small piece.
What are we going to do with the fuel? Did I need fuel for something?
This old cylindrical... The lieutenant assists you, holding the canister up to the... There's a red starter switch on the side of the cylinder and a start rope on the other side. The lieutenant flicks the switch. The recoil start wakes the old generator up. The machine sputters like an...
That should do it. Downstairs into the console, then from there into the room's electronics.
Right. Did it need any more energy, or was that just in case?
A dim...
It's on. Turn emergency open.
The lighting in the room turns on with a sizzle, a dim ambient orange.
Oh.
The dial slides under the glass, dark and silent. Restoring electric power has not breathed life into it.
Oh. Was there any point in switching the lights on? I think so. Oh! Don't really know. Right, you did it, but why?
Millions of capital. What do you want?
One more time, Mr. Dross, the Colonel. We need to talk about you killing him.
Petty bourgeois law. This is all you care about, right? The only thing in the world for you types.
A drop of blood in the saliva. That's right. Pile it all on him now. 3 should do it. Maybe 4.
The flower.
Damn Maybells. The whole island is turning white with them.
He seems tender suddenly. Nostalgic even. A strange mood swing.
So many this year, too. The spring is coming. No, it's already here. Wash the filth away.
I haven't seen these flowers anywhere in Martinez, it's only here.
They blossom on the islets before. We fertilize them with our blood. Resurrection was snow white in May, before they ruined it.
South, the Bay of Martinez is dotted with little freckles of islets, turning green, with white flowers in white snow.
The coast, too, before they piled their containers on top of it, filled with broken, useless trash for fat-fingered bourgeois children to play with.
You must get around a lot to stay undetected all these years. Do you know any secret paths? Pinball workshops?
I may.
A young woman called Clasia, ring any bells?
Classier.
You know her.
With the victim.
There is a small tremble, looks like a smile, a crooked smile, yet isn't quite voluntary. He's about to burst, almost, but you need one more, just one, or maybe 2.
Boots!
Everything is brands with you individualists. Who cares what brand my shoes are? Sansa? Some shit.
Show me the souls, please, Mr. Dross.
Fucking imbecile.
The maker is Sensorique, the model is Cordobe, and the size is 43. These are not the unusual horizontal pattern soles you saw in the dust on the floor of the hidden room. They do, however, seem to be about the same size.
The size fits, but not the sole.
Wait, maybe it's simpler than that.
Sire, he doesn't have to be wearing them right now.
People change shoes, does it mean you weren't there, near the room the victim died sneaking around?
Racking those brains, are you? Desperate to report something back to your masters? They must have really loved that dead fuck.
The lieutenant gives you a quick sideways glance and nods to acknowledge. The prints were his, You can see it in those eyes. He can't keep them from flickering, looking for something. The old man stares at his own prints in the ash around the fire. Silent suddenly, some strange process within him. A gush of wind. Seagulls in the distance.
You know who he was. A coalition-trained murderer. Armored and armed. He wasn't human. The blunt end of a hammer. Dripping with blood.
He was a rapist. I'm not saying he didn't deserve it. He was a killer, but he was still under the protection of the law. He was a soldier too. He was a man.
Beating us to the ground. Moaning with joy. You hounds get so thorough when a company-trained killer dies. I haven't seen you on this coast for 40 years. You know, maybe I should have killed one sooner. Got your attention. Now you stop eating druggies and prostitutes in your basement. Now you come to investigate. Not when they die by the hundreds.
This is it. Shot him. Shot him. Say shot him, not killed him.
So you shot him.
Oh, the inhumanity. One paramilitary less in Revachol.
The lieutenant raises his right arm to hush you. Hush. He does not need to be pushed anymore. The ball is rolling, while the lieutenant listens, holding his breath.
Let's hold on.
I had them in my sights. Both of them. Him and the whore. I was breathing with them, in phase. And I pulled the trigger and flew on the air until I landed in his mouth. I didn't think I had a shot like that in me anymore. I did. I saw him kneel there with his mouth full of death, and that stupid look on his face. And his dick still in her.
Then what?
Nothing. I went to sleep. Next morning there were Maybells everywhere. The world was white, or what's left of it anyway. My last spring here. I knew the fascists would come to avenge their own. And so they did.
Mr. Dross, are you aware you're confessing to murder?
Yes.
Wow.
And you were looking at them, the victim and a young woman, having sex, through the scope of your rifle that night, before you shot him?
The old man nods.
Why?
Because that's what they were doing.
The motive. This is where the motive is going to come from. You can coax it out of him. The lieutenant's preparing the ground.
I don't understand. Do you, detective? I don't understand this part.
Yeah, why? Why were you looking at them?
I'm always looking.
Are you always looking through the scope of a rifle? I'm just trying to understand.
A rifle scope has the best magnification.
And if you don't like it?
Click.
You pull the trigger.
Yes. Think of it as a form of critique.
He will not stop now. These dialectical materialist types never do. Exploit it. You got him going. Connect every little piece now. Wrap this up like a gift.
What specifically did you not like?
Them. Fucking. I didn't like that.
You were jealous?
Jealousy is a reactionary concept. I didn't like the Reaver enjoying himself. Drugged out, soothed in the arms of a young woman. I wanted him to die so he could not enjoy life anymore. And I wanted to see his head explode. That too. She should know better than to hold a child murderer between her thighs. I knew he'd be there for one more second. Writhing. That's all it takes for the bullet to reach his head. Now that I think of it, I wasn't aiming for his mouth. I wanted his brains to spill out on her. But you can't have everything.
He wants to see her covered in blood. To punish her.
How long have you been watching her?
Since she came to Martinez. I saw her sneaking in the reeds early in the morning. behind the Fell building. It was dark, still winter. She didn't have her skimpy outfit on then, just a spot in the night, moving.
Past the Fell building on the coast? What was she doing there?
Hiding something in the water. She had a fag after she'd done it. I was up in the ruins there. She couldn't see me, but I could see her, smoking. She was nervous, but not scared.
And beautiful.
I'm beautiful.
That, too.
How could you see what she looked like? You said it was dark.
The sun came up. Her hair was like cobwebs. She smoked more fags and snorted a line of whatever shit she was on, right there. She needed it, just to move.
What do you think she hid?
Her passport and tickets to Villiers. And from there to Cachet Brut.
In the free state of Seminine, hidden away at the edge of the earth, near the Pale.
Some kind of hidden container on the coast.
Yes, after she'd gone. It was a submersible. Well made, actually.
Sloppy. We should have gotten her to tell us about this.
No, I put them back. Why would I take them? I'm not going to phone. Oh, I mean...
Moving on. Did you continue watching her after this?
I did. She had a face like an archipelago, with those birthmarks. And a body hard and lean and bruised all over. Black and yellow. I could see she's taken a beating. I could see who she was, too. A spook. On the run. Revachol's the cloaca of capital now. All the bagmen and arms dealers end up here to do drugs and have sex like animals.
You could tell she was a spook? From the documents?
She had different color hair on the photo, and glasses. Forged. Some sordid bourgeois affair. I've heard about this kind of thing on the radio.
He's setting it up for you. The bruises. You can't make that out in a scope.
And you can see her bruises through the scope.
You can't see bruises through a scope. It's just a blur.
How do you know these minute details of her body?
It quickly comes to you.
Bruises on her body. Any chance you saw them through a hole in the wall?
Oh, yes. Cutting those drugs of hers into little lines with a knife. Masturbating.
Everything in him fills with impossible longing, all at once.
Did you make that hole?
With a clip point knife.
Good for listening in, too. For hearing the moaning and the snorts.
Ever see her through a window on a roof?
Like that, too. Yes. Bending like a bow against the glass.
You've been through the secret route behind the whirling of rags.
I've been through all of Martinez. Every nook and cranny.
And that too.
Yes, that too. The things they did in that little room. What she'd do to feel good. Funny the way light works. You turn it on inside, and it gets so dark out, you can't see a man looking in. I learned that in the 20s, when they were still hunting me. I've seen people do some shit, but...
Those two took the cake. You hear the familiar scribble of the lieutenant's pen. A quick glance at you. One more loose end down. We're doing this, detective.
How did you get in there? The hidden pinball workshop.
I can just walk in there now after a good wash. I told you, they think I'm an antisocial. Closing hour is a good time. The kitchen's empty.
You had to open the steel door in the kitchen? How?
It's got a sore throat.
I got that open a long time ago. Some bourgeois game merchant
57
lived there.
minutes.
I don't know, 15 years ago. He left spare keys all over, and I took one. Then I saw her turn the light on one night in my scope.
He confessed.
Since she came to Martinez, I saw her sneaking in the reeds early in the morning. Behind
Past the Fell building on the coast?
Where you
What
did
was-
this?
And beautiful. In the
Sloppy.
No,
You could tell.
he's the bruises.
you can't see bruises through a scope.
You
It's
wanted
just
to
a
punish
blur.
her, so you killed him.
She practically breastfed that man. You wouldn't believe the things she let him do to her.
While he stands here and rots.
She did deserve a good punishing. I hate women too, you know. I'm not like that. I don't think like that. Men are insane.
No one gives a shit what you think. You and your cronies kill 10 working-class men a day. I've heard the statistics on Channel 8.
I had feelings for the woman.
There's nothing to hold on to. Only this. It's not enough.
The coals of his eyes glisten suddenly, like stones dripping with water. Is he crying?
Man needs to feel something else. In this fight, it helps if you have your eye on something there. It's weakness, I know.
There have been others?
Yes, over the years. It's not unproletarian to feel something.
Was that why you left the flowers?
No,
Why?
I don't really know. I was there one night and she was crying, like a child, in the corner of our room on the floor, like she does sometimes.
When was that?
The day after I killed him.
And you brought her the flowers?
Yes, I don't know why I do the things I do anymore.
You wanted to console her?
Maybe. I told you, I have holes in my brain now. I wouldn't just sit here waiting for you. If you came 10 years ago, I would have killed you.
In the silence, the lieutenant draws a line in his notes, then nods at you once more. One more down.
So in conclusion, it wasn't about him, it was about her.
Her.
The lieutenant nods at you in acknowledgement. That's it. Motive. We have it.
Where is she, that Clasier? I haven't seen her there for days.
She got away. We don't know where she is. She got away. But she led us here first. She figured out someone was watching her from the C4. We arrested her. Not at liberty to say.
Gone. I knew it. She kept staring into the scope this last week at the island, like she knew. She'd look at night, crying or smoking on the roof, staring right into me. It doesn't matter.
Midtown, across the Bay of Rivershell, the oceanic wind washes 40-story towers. Above them, Lucerne Central Aerodrome, a cocoon suspended in the sky by a web of suspension wiring, encircled by hybrid aircraft.
Let's look north.
On the platform, a young woman is withdrawing from amphetamines, barbiturates, and alcohol. Yet still, she smiles among the crowd, among the great ghosts of the city she's leaving, for another, far south, smaller, distant, hidden, not like the great chandelier she sees sparkle in the night below her. Streetlights, towers, tenements, and water, and across it, a dark strip of ruins, barely visible if she didn't squint her eyes. He knew she knows. She was looking at the island, figuring it out, day by day, cigarette by cigarette.
We could get more. We've got him talking.
Who knows what he's seen and done over the years? You could get more out of him. He likes talking. For a 60-year-old man with stomach trouble, who spent his entire life alone on an uninhabited island, he seems surprisingly fit.
That's it.
He's prone to erratic hand gestures and clearly malnourished. But that's it. You can see no...
I ain't.
Give me some composure clothes. That jacket's too ugly. I don't want to wear it.
The old man stares despondently at the logs. It's like he's
a tragic comedy. Druggies, prostitutes, and rentiers.
a strange little engine seems to fire up in him again. It straightens his back. The familiar put of hatred.
Specifically?
Specifically, the whole city is a charnel house. Stripped clean and draped in neon. But Martinez is the worst. Because of the racists. Everyone is a racist in Martinez. It's their favorite thing to do in the whole world. Listening to race-themed radio shows. In the ruins, in their lorries. Pumped full of steroids and Radio Revachol 92. Race this, race that. It's all sanctioned by that Social Democratic Union and the farce of a Social Democrat who runs it.
Ever.
Yes, the fly larva in his container. He let some nihilistic advertising yuppies erect a statue of Philippe III, a syphilitic murderer, on the town square, to spit on the working class.
Let him finish, do not interrupt.
Not since the serfs of ancient Pericarnassus has history produced a more inert social class than the Martinez proletariat. The rest of Revachol at least pretends to rebuild. These people still live in ruins. In tents, like animals. Like those boom morons on the ice. A pity they didn't drown in that tent of theirs.
That's all?
The worst of them is the blood-drenched Sucrion on her yacht, licking her lips. The old whore's gone now. Her gun-toting porcelain men are dead. So, actually, no. The worst is that old cop parading around in his uniform, throwing balls all day. It's not enough that the racists and liberals are dancing on our graves. The old loyalist ghouls still parade the ruins too.
He's dead.
Every morning he's there, while the parasites he fought to protect are off in Ozon, or Coyamorang, or some other island they built their palaces on, feeding on drugs and having sex with their own children. That's all the rich really want. Sex with their own children. Throughout history, even the royal bloodline of the suzerain, it's all just an excuse for them to have sordid sex. At least that old cunt, Frisell, is now dead. We did good when we pushed him under that horse car. If only, in the 30s, those disco whores...
The disco whores are too much. Hatred shuts down his brain's language center, leaving only a nonsensical sputter. There was something about a statue and nihilistic advertising agency people might be worth investigating.
Ever.
Another hideous disappointment. Unions are the real enemy. The true enemy of the proletariat. Placating the masses.
Disappointment, so personal. He displays a familiarity with the union's top brass.
That deformed toad? I wouldn't expect him to wipe his own ass. I mean, the brains of the operation. The smart one.
Edgar.
Oh, Edgar.
He talks a big game about uprising and social base. They must have sent the smart one to some university in Le Jardin, where it's alienation this and hegemony that.
You talked to Edgar.
First against the wall with him.
The Clares wouldn't miss a man hidden in their own backyard. Not all this time. Nothing happens in Martinez without them knowing.
Of course. Maybe the Clears asked him to. Don't go straight for the kill. Exhaust everything else first. Soften him up.
Have you approached them?
I haven't approached anyone. I hid. It was Edgar who came to me.
How did he know you were here?
He didn't just stumble in like an oaf. He figured it out. Some kids told him about a monster on the island. I told you, he has brains. Stepped right off the boat and walked down where you came. I even kept the door open for him. Thought he was a man of the left. Wouldn't rat me out. I was right about one of those things.
When was this?
20 years ago.
Blimey.
Neither of them could walk now, could they? They were less fat then.
That's around the time the Clears came to power.
What did you talk about?
Edgar did the talking. Paid his respects like I were a fossil in a uniform. Offered platitudes about the struggle. Flaunted his pink degree. Even quoted Marzov. Never trust a social democrat who quotes Marzov. Oh, and charity too. They love their charity. Offered me blankets and social housing. I still have the gas cooker he brought.
And he let you be here?
Let me be here? The ZOC is an unlawful successor of the Commune of Revachol. We took this fortification from the Loyalists. Even the Clares understand this.
They let him be here. Understanding was a courtesy. But why such a courtesy?
Did you kill the Crenel mercenary? Oh my god.
You know why I killed that fucker, Dwat. As to Edgar, I'm not doing anything for that swine again.
Again? What have you done for Edgar before?
What?
Tried teaching him some Marzovian socioeconomics. They didn't stick. We parted ways.
Okay, he didn't do the hanged man for them. But he's insinuating something.
Something about statue in the roundabout and syphilis.
Syphilis is a disease Philip III contracted in a whorehouse.
Yeah.
The statue is an abomination.
Agreed.
The bacteria entered his brain and made him squander trillions on sparkling wine, cocainum, and monuments of himself. His son, Philip IV, the insane, contracted syphilis in the womb.
Oh,
That is technically possible, although Philippe III was not actually syphilitic. He was just mad.
And he still went on to govern Revachol for 25 years. We lost 2 million lives toppling that mode of government. And those grotesque statues, too. Hundreds of them.
Still there?
What a keen remark. Yes, it is, isn't it? It's still there. Do you know why?
Because you've got to take it down, because the king is holy and his statues are indestructible. Because the king is holy, but mean it, ironically. Because cynical advertising hippies erected a deconstructed version of it. Yes.
That's right. Some advertising cockroaches erected a cynical deconstruction of it. We tore it down with honest, working-class plastic explosives. And there it is again. Art is a bourgeois establishment. It's an affront to humanity. Every gallery should be bulldozed, and the artists should all be given 30 years of hard labor in Yekokata.
What a disco.
Horse.
Ooh, okay, that's it. I'm not very logical. But the cock parading in his... Yeah, Renee. He's dead.
Every fucking morning for 34 years. Throwing that ball. One ball against the other. I've always loathed
I was wearing
that
his
game.
clothes when I first talked to you.
That
Didn't
is
realise.
not a working class game. I don't care what they say on Radio June. Royalist ghouls played like it was life itself. Click, clack across the water each day. And that uniform, like a parrot plumage. I won't even mention that he's a traitor to his race. A petanque maniac race traitor.
Okay.
I remember him. I remember him from La Noce. Not him, personally. His make and model. There were tens of thousands of them. I thought we took them all out before the Liberals came to their rescue. We missed one, that one.
There doesn't seem to be a single person under the pine today. Not even Gaston.
Yeah,
Alone.
there's no one there.
Fat and plump, like a pheasant. Just begging to be popped off. Please, Mr. Truss, shoot me.
You'd like to kill him?
Not yet. I like to look at him strut around, place the crosshair on his medals, right on his face, and just fiddle the trigger. Think about it. Let the bomb melt in my mouth.
Save the treat for later?
He is a juicy bonbon, that one. A real treat for the black day. The blackest. When I put that gun in my own mouth, I think. No, don't
Renee's
waste
dead
it.
on my game, so
Put this lead
obviously
in
hasn't
that
looked today.
cock, Renee. For the boys he killed. And then I look at him throw those balls, and I suddenly feel better. I even hid one bullet, so I'd always have one for him. Haven't seen him around lately, strutting around.
Oh, there
Must
you
be
go.
down with arthritis. I hope it hurts like hell. I hope he sweats blood.
Hearing it may destabilize him. You sure you've gotten everything from him?
Yes, of course. Must be passing a kidney stone.
He seems relieved. Could he have been worried for him?
Yeah.
He reminds him of himself. The same hatred. The same.
Glad. It's all gone.
Gotta get logical. You just stand there while I quickly have a costume change, and then suddenly I didn't want to talk to me. Give me that. Oh my god, really? This seems stupid to have a conversation in. I really want to put those clothes on and see what he says. Because they sometimes do say specific things depending on what clothes you have on. No, I'm gonna wear that. It still looks pretty fucking stupid.
The old man stared, his lip curls into a sneer
Blech.
at the memory. Oh no, the connection doesn't come to you on such a
97.
pivotal moment.
Oh, that was fucking ages ago.
Slap yourself in the head again. Jumpstart it.
What do you think?
About this deal you made with Edgar. The death of the colonel mercenary was only coincidentally beneficial to the Clares. But what about the other people you've killed for them?
Other people?
Like the previous 4 women of the Union.
Hey, yeah, I wonder where she was.
That's it. That's what you weren't connecting yourself.
I didn't fight 40 years to end up an informant for the international regime. What happened, happened.
Still dumb. Your eyes are transfixed on his digit. It's yellow with nicotine. Before, when you asked him about the Union, he said it was a disappointment. They promised him something political.
They promised political change and didn't deliver.
Look who's up. You're worse off than me.
We will have plenty of time to talk about this, Mr. Dross, when you're in pre-detention. It takes years in pre-detention.
Go ahead. I've been in solitary confinement my whole life.
Ease off it. This was not an unmitigated disaster. The lieutenant mitigated it. Just proceed, calmly.
Glad? It's all gone.
I'm gonna
His
tell him he's
lip
dead.
curls.
Yes. Where is he? I hope he doesn't.
Oh my God. He's even worried for him.
Marie's dead.
No.
Yeah.
I waited too long. I waited too long, and Now he's dead?
I'm sorry, Mr. Dross. I understand you knew him for a long time.
They're all dead now. Fuck him.
If he really wanted to kill him so bad, he would have done. There must have been 1,000 black days on these islands.
You had 1,000
elf
chances to
alien.
kill him.
And I blew them all. What does it matter now? He's gone. Ancient dust.
He reminded him of himself. The same hatred. The same. You try to think of something else, but no. It's just hatred.
You care about him.
All human beings care about each other. I cared for seeing his head explode.
Oh.
Now, God damn this world.
Well, sorry, dude.
Fuck you. You think I haven't seen people die? It's all I've seen them do. Fuck and die. All the other plans we had. To love. To colonize the Pale. It's all fucked.
He's not okay. This is just another black day in a row of black days. Something strange is keeping him together, making him endure.
Glad we talked about what?
But I need to be more composed. Which is I had the clothes on, but it wasn't good enough. I need to do some drugs. What did I have on? Not like that. Fucking green coat. Can't remember what I had on. I had a different hat on. Isn't it? What shall we take? Okay. Where's my alcohol? Just some cigarettes. That's just some. That's it. And a bag. Yeah.
The old man stares despondently.
What the fuck?
at
How am I supposed
the
to ever do
logs.
it then?
It's like he's forgotten you're there.
What? Fucking how composed can I be? 11.
The old man stares despondently at. What strikes you about this gaunt man is not the stomach pain, or the cough, or the malnutrition. It's precisely what you could not see before. For a man who spent 44 years hidden in the urban wild.
He looks surprisingly okay.
Indeed, he speaks fluidly. His movements are rapid, if erratic. His voice, despite the cough, is there. It is capable of expressing complicated ideas. Above all, he seems animated.
By what?
It's a mystery. This animation comes at a cost too. Erratic hand gestures, thought processes
He's on
cut
drugs.
off like threads as he just stares at the logs or the reeds. He also suffers mood swings, bubbling to the surface, unconstrained by his nervous system. Great leaps of emotion, from anger to grief, despair.
Dementia?
You've seen demented people before. This feels similar, yet different. When his thoughts move,
He's
they
been
are
to the
lucid,
Pale, maybe.
keen even, not senile,
What, he wouldn't have foul-tempered the byproduct of his life.
perhaps, but his seems more than that. The inner turmoil takes unexpected turns, as if forced on him in a way. In summary, you sense some underlying neurological disorder.
How are you doing? How's the old memory?
No, I'm not okay. I shit blood, and I'm surrounded by insane people.
What?
There it is again, erratic hand motions, bouts of rage, and the stomach thing too, of course.
Okay, well, let's arrest him for the murder of Lily.
What? But you said I would be taken to the...
So what? What's he doing?
This terror is the sum of all the uncontrollable movements and mood swings he's been exhibiting. The wind picks up. The silence on the water is broken all around you. Little shivers of waves appear. The lieutenant continues, like an incantation.
Your Wayfarer rights have been suspended. Information provided to the officers on the scene will be used against you by the prosecution. You will be given legal counsel within 1 week and must face court in 44 days. Do you understand? Do you understand?
But
He's afraid.
no, I don't want to. I have to stay here.
He's sweating. Beads are forming on his forehead.
You knew it was going to happen.
Your confirmation is not required, sir. Now on to the boat.
Does it have room for 3?
Not really. We could escort him to the pier, then either one of us can take him inland while the other stays here, but...
But then, who watches him while you're coming back here?
Oh, fuck off, it's that fucking
You
stupid
come back
riddle.
for me? How about I go and send a boat back for you?
What is this farce? This is a fucking farce. I can't.
Lilian. You could ask her, maybe.
Wait.
There it is again. To your north, as it has been since you came to the coast.
Yeah, the reed.
The reeds whisper, stalks rubbing against each other. But then, in the middle of it,
What?
something completely different. It sounds like a bow, very slowly being drawn against the strings of a violin.
What?
A very small violin, made of reeds and rushes.
Maybe there is room for 3 on the boat.
Shh, listen.
What?
What are you talking about? Is this really us?
Your skin crawls.
What the fuck? What the fuck?